Rain drizzled across the marble headstone as Eleanor Hayes, one of the richest women in the city, stepped into the quiet cemetery. She had come to mourn her son, gone far too soon. But halfway down the row of graves, she froze. Kneeling beside, her son's resting place was a young black waitress, clutching a frail child to her chest, tears streaming down her face. Eleanor's heart pounded. She had never seen her before. And yet, the woman whispered her son's name like a prayer. Why was she here? Comment your city if you're watching. Eleanor Hayes was the definition of privilege. Her empire spanned luxury hotels, high-end restaurants, and charities with her name engraved in gold. She was used to control, her schedule, her image, her world. But every Sunday, without fail, she visited her only son's grave. Losing Daniel had shattered her in ways no fortune could mend. The cemetery was usually empty, a place where she could grieve in peace. This Sunday was different. Even before she reached the headstone, she noticed fresh flowers that weren't hers. The cold wind carried a faint scent of cheap perfume, and something else she couldn't name. In the distance, a lone figure knelt. Her clothes were worn, her shoes scuffed from too many shifts on her feet. The sight unsettled Eleanor. Who would dare intrude on such a sacred space? And why did the child in the woman's arms look so heartbreakingly familiar? Eleanor's steps slowed, each one weighed down by questions she didn't want to voice. She stopped a few paces away, observing quietly. The young woman's hands shook as she adjusted the blanket around the child. Eleanor noticed the boy's fragile frame, his small hand clutching a toy car, a model Daniel had cherished as a child. Her breath caught. The waitress's lips moved, murmuring words Eleanor couldn't hear. But then a name drifted on the wind. Daniel. Eleanor's pulse quickened. She had met countless people in her son's life, classmates, co-workers, acquaintances, but never this woman. Memories of Daniel's rebellious years flashed through her mind. How he avoided her charity events, his long nights away, his insistence on seeing the real world. She had assumed it was just youthful defiance. Now a chilling thought crept in. The woman's crying deepened, her shoulders trembling. The child's eyes fluttered open, revealing the same hazel-green flecks Eleanor saw in the mirror every morning. Her gaze snapped back to the boy's features, the curve of his jaw, the shape of his nose. The resemblance was undeniable. Wave of emotions, disbelief, fear, anger, crashed over her. Eleanor wanted to demand answers, but the weight of the moment pinned her to the earth. All she could think was, what had her son hidden from her? And why was this stranger mourning, him as if she'd lost everything too? The waitress finally noticed Eleanor standing there, her tear-streaked face twisted with a mix of grief and dread. For a moment, neither moved. Then, in a voice raw from crying, she said, "I didn't want to come here today, but he begged to see his daddy's grave." Eleanor's knees nearly buckled. The word daddy sliced through the fog. She looked down at the child again, her chest tightening. The boy's innocent eyes met hers, and in them she saw Daniel, not just his features, but his warmth, his defiance, his soul. The truth crashed over her. This wasn't just a stranger's child. This was her grandson, a grandson she never knew existed, standing in the shadow of secrets her son had carried to his grave. Silence hung heavy between them, broken only by the soft patter of rain. Eleanor's mind raced. Years of missed birthdays, first words, and bedtime stories. She thought of the nights Daniel had been working late, and the woman's weary face that spoke of struggles Eleanor could never imagine. Kneeling slowly, Eleanor reached out, not for the woman, but for the boy's tiny hand. His fingers curled around hers instinctively. It was a connection that needed no explanation. She realized then that justice wasn't just about courtrooms or headlines. Sometimes it was about righting the wrongs within our own families, acknowledging the truths we had been blind to. Eleanor whispered, "You're home now." And for the first time in years, her grief felt lighter.